Hello and welcome to the Multi-Story Thinking Podcast. This is a special Clerkenwheels series, a set of conversations that sit at the intersection of design, movement, inclusion and collective action. Clerkenwheels is a multi-day cycle ride that brings together designers, thinkers, educators and allies to raise funds and awareness for United in Design, supporting outreach programs to help open up the built environment professions to people from underrepresented backgrounds. Along with my friend Tom Bourne, we're riding from the University of Plymouth to Clerkenwell Design Week from the 15th to the 19th of May. But Clerkenwheels is about more than cycling. It's about who gets to participate, whose voices are heard, and how we design systems, spaces and cultures that are genuinely more inclusive. Across this series, we'll be speaking with people who are supporting the ride, hosting stop-offs, sponsoring the event, riding alongside us, or simply sharing ideas that challenge how we think about design, access and impact. You don't need to be a cyclist to be part of the conversation, just curious, thoughtful and open to change. So whether you're listening as a designer, educator, business leader, student or supporter, welcome. Ali Milam is the Managing Director of Porta Romana, a Hampshire-based company with an international reputation for making beautiful handcrafted decorative lighting and furniture for the interior design industry. Founded in 1988 by Andrew and Sarah Hills, Porta Romana has continuously grown and evolved and produces lighting and furniture with a commitment to craftsmanship and collaboration with talented artisans from around the globe. Porta Romana have supported the United in Design's Internship program from its inception in 2020. I interviewed Ali in February 2026 ahead of our 5-day cycle ride to raise funds for United in Design's outreach program. In this episode we discover how Porta Romana got involved with United in Design's Internship program, the profound impact this partnership has had on both the interns and Porta Romana, the unexpected benefits and the importance of fostering connections within the design community, and why, if an idea sounds totally bonkers, it might just be worth getting involved with. Ali, thank you very much for joining me on this special Clerkenwheels episode of the Multi-Story Thinking Podcast. I was really fascinated to find about what you do and when we met that first time, but you've been involved with United in Design for some time, and obviously you were at that 5th anniversary evening that we attended when we launched the Clerkenwheels project. And you very kindly came up and spoke to us afterwards. We're going to be involved with you on the ride, which is great. But can you give us a bit of background on what you do as a company and also how you got involved with United in Design in the first place?
Yes, yeah, Jonathan, I'd love to. I'm just going to say it was brilliant to meet you on that. I think it was back in November.
Yes, yeah.
At the 5th anniversary, because just immediately it kind of felt really inspiring to be connected. So in terms of what Porta Romana do, we've been established now for 38 years. Andrew and Sarah Hills founded the company in 88, and we have always made beautiful things. People know us for our lighting first and foremost, but we make a beautiful range of furniture as well, and we work with a huge range of very talented artisans, craftspeople. Some of those are here with us in-house in Farnham, and we work with independent artisans working out of their own studios as well. Many of those in the UK. We do go further afield. For example, we work with glass blowers in the Czech Republic, brass casting in Italy. For us, it's a case of going to the places where those skills are.
Yes.
And that's, I would say, is very much been the ethos behind Porta Romana in terms of finding that talent, that skill through the years. And we've got an amazing network of makers. So in-house here at Porta Romana, our team is about 120 in total. And I guess one of the things I've always thought really special about the business is that we do everything from the design through to the making, through to dispatching and delivering to the end client. We're working with interior designers right around the world. And I would say, I think around 50% of our business is overseas. So it's that lovely connection of creative people, from our side, the design side, through to the incredible projects that our pieces find themselves in. So amazing business.
I think looking on your website, there's that element of craftsmanship is evident. There's lots of great films about the process, which is really exciting. And just going back to that United in Design event, we were very excited. First of all, we were launching the concept, not knowing how it would land, and for you to come up and be so enthusiastic, and also by chance, more or less on the route that we're going to be taking, which also helps. But it's going to be a great opportunity to see some of that manufacturing and craft in action when we arrive on day 4 of our challenge. But your connection with United in Design, you've been involved in that for, give us a bit of overview of what your involvement is, and also the background to why you got involved. That's what I'm really interested in.
Yes, of course. We got involved really right from the very inception. So when Sophie and Alex were just setting up the charity, which was in very direct response to the murder of George Floyd, the protests around that, and then, of course, the kind of real rise of consciousness around the Black Lives Matter movement. I remember we obviously all felt very moved by that particular turn of events, but for us, it was really fantastic to sort of see Alex and Sophie come right out quite quickly, I would say, with a very practical kind of initiative to sort of spearhead how we could be changing the face of the interior design industry. I remember becoming aware of that, and I guess it sort of in many ways taps into the sort of ethos of the way we work at Porta Romana. It was kind of just obvious that we would be involved and we would support United in Design. So we've now been involved for 5 years. The connection that we have is through the Career Pathways programme, which means that we host an intern every year as part of a rotation. So the interns are spending time in several different businesses, getting a really lovely kind of breadth of experience. And, I guess that's one of the things that I feel very proud that we can really add to that experience as a manufacturer, we've got as a sort of, we're a bit of a machine when it comes to the sort of sales and marketing, of course, of all these artisan products that I was talking about, but that takes a lot of work. And it means that, the interns get a real insight into the full breadth from making to selling to delivery. So that's how we've been involved, from the outset. And, and the intention is that will, continue indefinitely.
And we get really excited about factory visits and seeing things made. I mean, that gives invaluable sort of contextual experience, doesn't it, to designers, to see the actual products running through the machine of the factory, the processes, and helps, I guess, to understand the context of what you're specifying, and value it more as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, for us, it's a complete win-win, because what's amazing is that UID are putting us in touch with really talented individuals. So we get the, benefit of their talents and experience and sort of fresh ideas, fresh eyes during that period as well. And there is no intern that we're not still in touch with.
Right.
Yeah. Brilliant to see them going on to forge really interesting careers within the interior design industry. Yeah.
There's obvious benefits for the participants, of getting experience, but are there any sort of surprising benefits that you weren't anticipating from being a part of this?
I think what I've really enjoyed seeing is kind of the breadth of the benefits, as it were. You know, the connections that we're fostering, that our team is fostering with those individuals, or in fact with you know, other members of the UID team. You know, we've gone on to do we did a fantastic project with Alex herself last year. She was participating in Wow House, and we created this incredible bespoke sculptural floor lamp for her. And I'm not quite sure that would have come about as part of, you know, without having that sort of much deeper connection with what they're doing. And I mean, I thought it would be quite nice just to give you a little bit of insight into one of our interns, actually our very first intern, and her experience. There's quite a nice story from my perspective, because it was COVID when we were sort of embarking on our first round of interviews for our very first intern. And I found myself on a Zoom call with Catherine Pooley, with Peter Mikic, and with Kate Guinness. So, you know, complete interior design icons of mine. I mean, I felt intimidated. I didn't know, you know, thinking about all the interns that were being interviewed by us.
Yes.
But, you know, they were a fabulous cohort. The decision as to who to take on has always met with a few challenges, because we've had such good quality candidates in front of us.
Yeah.
Now, the candidate that we chose for that very first internship was Roshu. And Roshu has gone on to have a phenomenal career. When she finished her internship year, and that for her was those four different placements, she then worked with Peter Mikic's studio for some time. I know that she went on then to work with Rachel Laxer as well, who's working with design studios both in London and New York. And alongside that, she's been setting up her own business as well, designing and making beautiful rugs. So, you know, I guess for me, if you talk about surprises, I guess seeing that huge success that's come out of it has been wonderful.
Yeah, that's really a positive story, isn't it? And the support for Clerkenwheels, which we're very excited about. I mean, what prompted you to come over? I think, you know, that's the thing. We were very pleased to be able to commit to doing it, and unsure of how it was all going to turn out. But it was fantastic for you to come up and approach us, because it sort of made us feel like, oh, right, we are making a good decision here.
But now we have to do it.
Yes, actually, yeah, we are committed. But that's an exciting point as well. You know, we're committed, and I'm excited to see the people on the way. I guess it's that connection with a wider group of people that you're not necessarily going to be exposed to, that is part and parcel of this whole exercise, in a way, of increasing diversity.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I mean, in terms of your initiative, I think it just spoke to me personally. You know, I've always been a cyclist, not in the way that you are.
Well,
but, you know, I love getting out on my bike, and that's just a bit of fresh air. So that was just like, oh, cool. I thought it was totally bonkers, and, you know, that's a lovely thing to be involved in anything that's bonkers. I really hope we are still going to have the chance to gild your bike frame.
Yes, well, yeah. Yeah.
I've got a workshop team who are all very excited about the
Poised. Yes. Yes. Well, we'll have to get into discussing that. I mean, we've Tom and I set out on this whole challenge from a point of not really anticipating what was involved, other than that we were going to get on our bikes, which for us was partly the main part of it. You know, it's like, but it's amazing what has turned up, and gilding the bikes using your facilities and your expertise is going to be an interesting outcome, that if we can make that happen.
It should be fun. And obviously, you know, just on the more serious side, you know, your ambition to raise £10,000 for UID, I mean, that's a phenomenal thing to be doing. And so you've got to do something pretty bonkers to capture the imagination of everyone.
That's it. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it'll be really useful money. I think for every £10 we raise, that can pay for some sort of engagement third outreach event for a person, so we can very quickly have an impact. And yeah, it's a very difficult landscape. I was at an event with a charity yesterday, and everyone's wants money, don't they? Everyone's looking for money, and so how do you connect? And I think the combination of cycling, inclusivity, and design, it's like a sort of Venn diagram that we're trying to sort of map over, and so it's an exciting sort of combination. And with you at day 4, we've only got one like a smaller ride into London afterwards, which I think you're going to try and get some of your team to join us on.
Definitely, yeah. I think we've got at least a couple of the team that will be very excited to do that with you.
Yeah.
And then there might be a few of us that just, fancy a bit of glory at the end.
Well, that's fine.
Join you for the last
Yes.
2 miles.
We're not trying to get people to cycle the whole journey, but and supporting us in any way is really important. So we're grateful for everything. Just going back to the placements that you've had, how do you sort of integrate them into the different experiences within your organization? So what are they actually going through during their visit?
I guess over the years we've refined this a little bit, and that's been one of the great things, I guess, about being involved over a period of time, is you can just develop the experience that you're offering. What we've found works really well, I mean, most of the candidates are London based, and it's been quite eye-opening, the challenge of just the travelling out to Farnham, because although we think, we're just an hour out of London, of course, as soon as you're trying to get on a train, and then connect at either end, that can be at a bit of a challenge. So we find that we split our programme across our London showroom, where the interns can get a fantastic experience of actually being front-facing with the client. They get to meet a lot of interior designers. They benefit from that experience. Just, and it's one of the things I love is how they get really stuck into that sort of specifying of the product with the interior designer, because they come with so much experience themselves. And then we marry that up with making sure that they get some really valuable experience directly in our marketing department and in our product development department as well, because that, I guess, feels that it covers the breadth of what you would expect a design student to be wanting to develop their skills in. The marketing is obviously, it's crucial in whatever walk of life you end up in, and the product development is actually where we can really align sort of the skills of our team and with the talents that the interns are bringing themselves as well. So it's a nice program. We flex it a bit around the individuals, depending on sort of practicality. Sometimes they end up doing a little bit of work at home, for example, just to make things a bit easier once they're a few months in.
Yeah. And has the involvement with United in Design had any kind of impact on the way in which you operate as a business, or the things that you do, or the systems you're involved? Have you've shifted any of your thinking on certain areas, or a different approaches to how you tackle things?
Yes, I would say our involvement in United in Design has been a really interesting part of our sort of journey as a business, if you like. So our involvement with UID comes at a time when we are also have been transitioning into an employee ownership trust, and we've also just gained our B Corp status, and I sort of feel that those 3 things are very aligned, building on the way you do business. And for us, UID, the influence there is about being kind of open, welcoming to all.
It's something that, I mean, if you say to anyone, is diversity and inclusivity a good thing, they're going to say generally yes, but they may not have realised that they weren't paying attention to it. That's the thing I find.
Yes, and I think yes, and actually this might be a simpler point, might be that whilst we're all of course we all have a DEI policy, but then there's the thing of actually, like, how do you enact something practically. And
Yeah.
that's what UID and our involvement, that's what I take from it, is like we are actually doing something visible, and that creates in itself a culture of being more open, being welcoming, and paying attention to our representation. As soon as you are part of a program like UID, you just naturally are thinking in a different way, and in terms of the reaction to the work that we're doing together. And of course, for us, one of the things that's come at a perfect time, because we've just been awarded B Corp status, which of course covers many facets of the way that we do business. UID very, very much is part of that and feeds into it for us and aligns with our ethos as a team and a business.
So it's been part of a kind of wider alignment of your thinking as a business and how you want to operate, and your, like you say, your ethos and your aspirations. United in Design fits perfectly into that mix.
Yes, yeah, it really does. For us, I'm just going to go back to B Corp for a minute, because one of the things that we found very interesting about going through that process is that as a very team-orientated business, there were so many things there that we did naturally, we did instinctively. You could argue that our involvement with UID felt natural and instinctive as well, as soon as we were talking with Alex and Sophie about it. Of course, what B Corp has done is it's created a bit of a sort of formal structure around it all. It's forced us to, in a good way, it's forced us to provide a bit more formality, which actually supports that brilliantly, indefinitely into the future. And I would say it's exactly the same as the work we're doing with UID. So it feeds each other, and absolutely it's been hugely influential. And our team just feels so proud to be involved with such an exceptional initiative within the industry.
I'd like to thank Ali for taking the time to speak to me. It was really fantastic to both meet Ali for the first time when we launched the Clerkenwheels initiative, but also follow that up to get a better understanding of how important their connection with United in Design is as part of their business. We're going to be arriving at their Farnham factory on day 4 of our ride into London from the University of Plymouth. And since I recorded the episode, they have managed to gild a bike. We have a bike that's been donated by Condor Cycles, and that's going to be sprayed up in the Porta Romana spray shop with a custom finish, and then we're going to raffle that bike off to raise more funds. If you've enjoyed the conversation, you can find out more about the Clerkenwheels ride, the route, the people involved, and how to support the project at clerkenwheels.com. We'll be riding from the University of Plymouth to Clerkenwell Design Week, setting off on Friday the 15th of May and arriving at Clerkenwell Design Week on Tuesday the 19th of May. You can get involved in lots of ways: by donating, sponsoring, sharing the story, hosting a stop-off, or simply helping to amplify the message around inclusion and diversity in the built environment. You can also find links to United in Design, whose work this ride directly supports, helping to create clearer, fairer pathways into creative and spatial professions. I'd like to thank the team from United in Design for supporting our ride, Sophie Ashby and Alex Dawley, and behind the scenes, Eman Akbar, who's been working tirelessly to put things in place, Julianne Webster from Industry Publicity, who's helping us with the marketing and PR of our initiative, and Tom Bourne from Select First, my co-rider, for thinking up the idea, coming up with the name, and keeping me motivated whilst I try to do my training. If you found this episode valuable, please subscribe, share it with someone who might enjoy it, and help these conversations reach further afield. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.
Thank you.